up, Cowboys Nation? Thank you guys so much for joining us for another episode of Star Chasers Girls Talk Ball. Thank you guys again for joining us. As always, it's your girl Craven Cowboys in the building, and I got my girl Star with me, Ryan. How you doing tonight, sis?
What up? What up, everybody? Glad to be back. I know we had to take a little took a little 2 weeks off, but we back right in time for the draft. Obviously, we are in April now, so draft is about 3.5 weeks away. I
Yep,
think that's right because I think it starts on the 24th. Is that right?
I think so. I think 26. Yeah, I think 24th through the 26th. Is it?
So basically, we got 2.5 weeks,
Yep. I
or
think
you could
about
just say three total weeks to the draft.
yep, about 20, I think 22, 23 days they said. I think on the draft show yesterday. So, yeah, it's literally right around the corner like Star said. Like we're it's finally April. Like somehow March, like for me at least in general, like took like it went by like that. But as far as like football wise, it kind of took a while. We were we did have some news coming out on the Cowboys front, but finally be able to get to the month where we can actually take a deep dive. As Star said, we kind of took a little bit of a break, but we kind of want to come back with this show and kind of talk about some of the guys that we had our eye on. Taking a look at some of the guys. The Cowboys have been visiting various schools for for pro days. Last week, I think going into this week, I'm not sure when the days start or end, but we've seen crazy news coming out. A shout out to Nick Harris, a friend of the show. He put out crazy lists of of some of the potential players that the Cowboys can be looking at when visiting these certain pro days, like the SEC they visited early last week. Ole Miss they visited. I think Florida State, Penn State. I think I have a list here. OSU. They had Texas A&M, Texas. Just a slew of schools. Plus many more. These aren't the
Yeah.
only schools that our coaching staff have visited. And that's really one thing that kind of stands out to me this year. I'm sure to all Cowboys fans that Shotty just kind of taking this thing, really by the horns. What I'm saying? He learned a lot from being under Mike McCarthy. He's been there for some time. As a consultant. Kind of starting out, but then kind of like as he kind of rose through the ranks and now he's the head coach. It just kind of seems like he's taken a lot of lessons that he's learned. Not just on his individual journey, but kind of what he's seen, looking at the coaching staff as he saw when he was just the OC, and then he also spoke about how he kind of wants to change some things too. So as we kind of get into the shows, sis, just kind of give some of your thoughts on just various news that's come out. Your thoughts on Shadi, or whatever you feel you want to touch on as we kind of jump into the show. Shout out to everybody coming through the chat. Of course we want to give shout outs. Of course, Sports Junkie, Big Time Show, Dacon's Filthy,
Yeah,
Lee
yeah,
Harrison on the Facebook Vibe. Yeah, go ahead, jump into something. I'm sorry. How you
yeah.
doing tonight?
No, yeah. Rico, shout out to you, Rico. I think you already said Dak on 50, but yeah, two great content creators in the chat. Big Time, love you too, Big Time, and also Sports Junkie. Really appreciate y'all
Yes.
uh, chopping in and or jumping in with us to chop it up about some ball. But I think you said, what are my thoughts on Shotty? You said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Listen, I like Shotty. That's why I didn't have a total meltdown. When he became our head coach,
Right.
because I was actually considering Shotty before he was hired. Um, do I have concerns about Shotty? Yes, not so much about him, but more so about the Joneses, because I think this is what I think he's doing. And shout out to the Final Word, Boss Cowboy, Law Nation, Big Game James. They were talking about, you know, basically what is Shotty doing um, publicly as far as how he's speaking, things he's saying, and stuff like that. And basically, like what's up, 100 grand? Sports Junkie, I'll answer that question, but uh, I think that because some of the stuff that Shotty has said, it does sound a little bit like brown nosing or ass kissing. You know what I'm saying? It
Yeah.
can sound a little bit like,
Yeah.
and then he said that
Yeah. Jerry's the most winning. He wants to win the
right,
most that anybody
he
I've ever
wants to win
seen.
the most, and I've been on the boat, I've been on the yacht and stuff like that. So some of that type of stuff can be concerning for Cowboys fans, because the
Yeah.
first thing that we're going to think in our mind is, here's a puppet, here's a guy who's going to be controlled by Jerry and Stephen.
Yeah.
That's your first inclination. But the first thing that Shotty said on his opening presser when he was announced as a head coach, the first thing he said is, "Listen, I'm a football guy, but I'm a relationship guy first. You know what I'm saying? I'm a people
Yeah.
person first, and that's how I get what I want." Basically, out of life, out of football, is by building and bonding and building these relationships. And I think that what he's trying to do is find a way, because I've been saying this for a while. Like, we need a coach that can work with Jerry and Steven
Yeah.
and to ultimately get the results that we want, which is a Super Bowl. And we've had the coaches that go against Jerry openly, right? You've had
Yeah.
the Jimmy Johnsons, then you've had Bill Parcells,
Well,
right? You've had those guys who they were hard nosed and stout in their beliefs, and they're like, "Listen, Jerry, you shut that up. We're the football guys. You follow us." Didn't work. Then you have the brown nosers like Jason Garrett, Coach Clapp, right, who just did everything the Joneses wanted him to do, never pushed
right.
back, and it took
Right.
and got to the point that when he wanted to push back, Jerry and them treated their beloved son like he was a bastard, basically. When
Right.
Jason Garrett, he asked to call plays again, all this stuff, and they was like, no.
Right.
So
And also, to an extent, I know he wasn't a head coach, but Kellen Moore, I mean, his effect shown so
Kellen
much
Moore,
that it was like
exactly,
this with Mike McCarthy. You know what I'm saying? Like, they definitely have
exactly.
their favorites.
Exactly. So you also got Kellen Moore, you know what I'm saying? Like these type of brown nosers, but those coaches also don't work. Then you have Mike McCarthy, who he was kind of in the middle where he would go against them in public, but in a kind of like a cunning way. Like the way Mike McCarthy went in front office was very political, very like
Yeah.
planned and calculated. That's how he got what he wanted.
Yeah.
But eventually, he got tired of playing them games. He got fed up.
Yeah.
He got fed up with the BS. So he's chunked the deuces, and then he basically said, "I'd rather be unemployed than
Then to play this game,
right
right?
than keep playing this game with you." So I
Right.
think
And what I
that
love, I mean, cut you off, but what I
no,
love is
go
that
ahead.
you still hear his name kind of ringing in the streets. You heard by him coaching up Quinn Ewers, right? You know, we heard by him helping out Shotty with his head coaching interview. So it's kind of like you say, like, look, I'd rather be out the door than be dealing with you guys' games, but at the same time, you guys are gonna know I'm still involved. You guys are gonna know that you didn't shut me down. You didn't kick me out the league. Maybe you thought you was going to do. I'm still gonna have some kind of influence or have my hands on somewhere around this league.
Exactly. And so basically, what I think Shotty is doing, and Game James alluded to this yesterday, and I was already thinking this. What's up, angry Cowboys fan? Y'all know that's another great content creator.
Yes,
Y'all
it's
be
good
sure
angry.
y'all be sure to show them love. Angry sports junkie in the big time. But what I think Shotty's doing is he's doing exactly what he said he's gonna do. Build
Yeah.
relationships. Because what we need is somebody who can really get through to Steven. That's what I think.
Yes.
I think when it comes to Jerry to me is just owner and name. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
mean, he's still owner and GM, but we know that Steven has a lot of influence, and Jerry is slowly, over these past years, he's been ceding power to Steven. So it's like if we really want something, you've got to get it. You've got to get Steven on board, because Jerry could be a person that's on board, but if Steven's not on board, Jerry defers to Steven a lot for decisions.
Right.
And so if you want to get to where you want to get, you're gonna have to build a relationship with Steven. And so I think that that's what in also Jerry Jr., because Jerry defers a lot to Steven and Jerry Jr. about everything. Those are the two people that he listens to above everybody else, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's exactly what Shotty is trying to do. Build a relationship with Jerry, build a relationship with Steven to ultimately turn them to do what he wants to do. But the thing is, with Jerry and Steven, they have not had that trust in any of their coaches. That's why they always are controlling power. And remember, they ceded power as much as we've ever seen them in a while. They ceded power in 2023, but what happened? Mike McCarthy went
Right.
to bed. So
Yeah.
they went back to their
Mhm.
ways. So I'm
And
like,
to your point, Star, they ceded to someone who wasn't one of their, I guess, quote unquote guys, right? So
right,
they thought they had the upper hand by showing, oh yeah, we can be different, we can listen to what you have to say. But at the end of the day, oh,
right.
like has been mentioned, we tried it your way, it didn't work. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and revert back to our ways.
Exactly. That's how they are. And so we need somebody. And I know people hate Jerry and Steven. Listen, I would prefer for Jerry and Steven not to own the team as well. But the fact of the matter is they
Right.
gonna own this team. Unless they get forced to sell the team like Snyder did over there in Washington land, they're going to be the owners because it's going to pass from Jerry to Steven to the grandchildren to the great grandchildren. So they're going to own this team for life until they just decide, we don't want it anymore. We're going to sell it. So if we want to win another Super Bowl in our lifetime, we need somebody who can convince Steven to be more aggressive because that's what Steven is lacking. You're lacking those couple of aggressive moves a year to get certain players to push us over the hump, right? You don't have to go out and buy every big free agent on the block, but you do have to get one or two players a year that you feel like can flip your team and not just depending on the draft. We
Right.
also have to have a coach that can convince Steven that, hey, Steven, I know we like our guys, but if we bring in another guy and he's better than our guy, aka our draft picks, we need to let him play. You know what I'm saying? We have to let him play over him, even though we did pick him high because he's performing better. So we
Exactly.
need a coach that can actually have a relationship with Jerry and Steven to where they trust them because they did not trust Jason Garrett. They did not, and they did not trust Mike McCarthy. That's just the
Facts.
bottom line. They don't trust
Yeah.
them, and if they don't trust you, they're going to control you. They're going to make the decisions. That's how they work.
Yeah.
So that's what I think Shotty is doing. Ultimately, we have to see the results. I agree with you, Sports Junkie. He said, "I see better than I hear." We have to see the results because
Yeah.
right now, Shotty is talking very like he's in or he's in a very symbiotic relationship with
Mhm.
Steven, saying all the right things, saying we believe in our guys, and yeah, we're still looking, and we'll take a look at it, but we got a plan for this, and we got a plan. So that's where we have to see.
Yeah.
But
And
I also go ahead, sis,
no,
because I
I was
had a
just
lot
gonna
of
say,
stuff.
yeah, I agree with you, and I was going to just kind of, I think we're seeing a little bit already, right? I think even this time, just last year, because Steven hasn't done a complete 180, right? We're seeing little baby steps, quote
Yeah,
unquote. But I think this time last year, maybe in an interview like this, we would have heard, you know, today he said, I like our room, I like our guys, we got to develop these guys, this, that, and the third. But what I also like is that he also added, hey, we lost Brandon Cooks, we still need an explosive wide receiver too. So I think this
right,
time last year, I think Steven would have been like, I like our room, we have our guys, I think we're
right,
good. Da, da, da.
right,
But I think
right.
to your point of him, Shotty, a coach like Shotty, who's been there, he has already a rapport with Steven who can kind of get in his ear outside, maybe outside everybody else, maybe even outside of Jerry. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, Steven, I think this, like you said, like, we have our guys, but yeah, if we can go out and get an explosive number two, that could still up our game. You know what I'm saying? But for me, I think it's still a little bit of a little bit of Steven there because he didn't necessarily say we're going to get a veteran wide receiver two. We're going to get someone who we're going to replace a veteran with a veteran. You know what I'm saying? But he just said wide receiver two. So for me, I don't know if he's going to go in the draft. He's going to go to free agency. He didn't necessarily say, but so
Or
I'm like.
trade, or
Yeah,
trade.
or trade exactly. So like you said, it's still yet to be seen. But well, I think maybe Steven right now is maybe teetering on what he wants to do. Like, should I?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I think
I'm
so. I think
co-owner.
so too.
You know what
Sis.
I'm saying? Like
That's
everyone's
a
kind of trying to become their own. Like Shoddy, you know
exactly.
what I'm saying?
That
Steven, co-owner. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is the first time we really heard Jerry Jr. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh,
yeah,
Jerry
Jared.
Jr. in on the conversations too. Like he's
Mm-hmm.
kind of kind of a little bit kind of coming a little bit from behind the scenes. He's still kind of behind the scenes, but to hear his name dropped. I know Shotty's like a relationship guy, but you know what I'm saying, you don't really hear it every day. So I thought that was interesting. I'm glad you brought that up because I think I love that Shotty really has his hands on everything relationship wise, like getting to know players, the coaching staff.
Right.
Even when he spoke about going to the pro days, he spoke about not necessarily focusing all his attention on the performance, but more so on the player, who he is and how he fits with the organization and other players in the locker room, and how his presence in the locker room. His for me, his focus is mainly on the player's presence and how he fits into the scheme slash organization and with the coaching staff and the players already there.
Yeah. And that's another thing, sis, is that I do like the fact, although that we've obviously been campaigning for a wide receiver too. I would prefer for us to go and get a wide receiver two before the draft so that we can truly draft BPA, right?
Yes.
Which I'm gonna finish this statement, then I'm gonna go to my next point. But I think that basically I like the fact that what's up, JC? Another great Cowboys content creator, puts out great film. Lou JC put out some of the best films, the
Yeah.
best breakdowns and film reviews of players. So y'all please go check out both of their channels for sure. But yeah, so when you think about how the coaches have talked about how they're going to develop players,
Yeah.
I actually like the sound of that. Not to the point of we're going to develop players, we ain't gonna get nobody else. We ain't gonna get we ain't gonna try to get nobody else through trade or free agency or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the fact that they said that they're developing specific plans for players because that's something that we weren't getting under Mike McCarthy. We were not getting under the Mike McCarthy regime, under the Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn regime, we were not getting a lot of development out of players. And we've talked about it as content creators. We've talked about it as a fan base, how you got all these players, but nobody's developing. And then by the time the player develops, then we're shipping them off. We're letting them walk in free agency. Then they're going and becoming Pro Bowlers for other teams.
Right. Or we have a turnover on the staff. We're bringing in new schemes. So all of a sudden they don't fit.
Right. They don't fit. Exactly. And so we have players that are behind because there haven't been developed. And so I like the fact that we're going to have a plan to develop Mingo. We're going to have a plan to develop Flournoy. Because when you look at those two players, those are players that you look at attribute-wise and you say you have a high upside. But the issue is, if you don't have the right coaches around them to develop them and bring the best out of them, then you're going to continue to see what you've been seeing on film, which is flashes, but not enough. Because you need more than flashes to be an actual wide receiver in the NFL. I've been on Jalen Tolbert's ass because I feel like you're not doing enough, buddy, to get better as a route runner. We went through your film extensively, and the route running is gross. And that's why I ultimately came off of my position, because I used to say, oh, no, I think Tolbert is good enough for wide receiver too. Then I started digging into the film more, and I realized those routes are horrible. And I'm like, you're not going to get better running routes, dog, if you're just going to be running routes loosely with Dak at SMU or whatever. Like, you need an actual trainer that can teach you how to be more explosive and in and out of your breaks, stemming your routes, all of this type of stuff, because we're not seeing it. And I know Tolbert, he had the most touchdowns or whatever, but you got to actually see.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah. It's like you got to actually look and see, well, who is he getting these touchdowns against? How did he get these touchdowns? Was he wide open? Is he winning on routes? Because I can guarantee you most of that stuff, he's not winning on routes. Right. And that's the issue. And that's why we would see Tolbert, he would come open when the play is broken. But, bro, we need you to be able to get open on time. Because what is our quarterback? Our quarterback he likes to play in rhythm. He likes to play on time. Yes, he is a great improviser as well. But Dak is surgical and lethal when he can get the ball out quickly. But the reason why he can't get the ball out quickly if people aren't getting open. Yeah. So hopefully these coaches, they're not just running because a lot of coaches like to bump their gums, and then Mike McCarthy did it a lot. He would say all of this great stuff, then we get to the game and we like,
right, can't consistently, because it's like, bro, it's been a whole off season, and you're still talking about what you want to do, but we're not seeing what you want.
Exactly. So I am nervous about that too. Since like Shotty saying, "Oh, we gonna run the ball, and we got a development plan, and we're gonna be physical." Okay. Because I'm sorry, I got trust issues, because I did hear this same shit from Mike McCarthy, and then when we got on the field, it was a totally different story.
Yeah.
So hopefully, now I will say the coaching hires do signal that we are going to be more physical. We are going to run the ball. The coaching hires signal that. But
Yeah.
again, we've got to see it on the field. We've got to see results because
Yeah.
ultimately, I think that once the front office starts seeing results, that's when the power will start seeding power,
Yeah,
right?
and the trust. Yeah, that's when the trust starts building. You start maybe seeing a little bit more leeway with the decision making. Because even, I mean, Shani talked about being in the room, having those conversations with Jerry and Steven, but I mean, he openly, and this is the first. What maybe I'll say the second interview we really had with Shadi outside the opening presser, but in one of his first interviews we had him with as a head coach, he admitted having to, go with the defensive player. He talked about having those conversations where because I think I mentioned that a couple weeks ago. Sorry, it's like man, even who's the head coach or a Shotty like as many players as they got. You know what I'm saying? Free
Right.
agency and that. So I mean, it's kind of just like at least in my opinion, I think okay, maybe that might mean that maybe they're maybe putting the draft in Shotty's hands. I don't know. And so it's just that
That's
could,
a good point,
you know
sis.
what I'm saying?
I have been thinking that. I was like, maybe they said, okay, we're gonna build the free agency through. I mean, we're gonna build defense through the free agency and trades. We're
Yeah,
gonna build the offense through the draft. I don't
yeah,
know, but that could very well be. We still have about 2 weeks to see. Okay, are y'all gonna make a move for a wide receiver? I
yeah,
would love for them to make a move for a wide receiver. Are they gonna do it? I don't know. But
yeah,
I think that, play this is desperation time. So you can go get Keenan Allen or you can go get Tyler Lockett, right?
right,
You can go get Amari Cooper. There are still veteran wide receivers that are not signed. I don't know if they're saying, you know what, we'll wait till after the draft. Because if
yeah,
they wait till after the draft, they get a wide receiver, then they go get Keenan Allen, he's gonna be like $2. So I don't know.
right,
I think
right.
like their mindset may very well be that, sis. Shout out to Hoodie Kush. He said, I will say this, ladies, Dak is a top QB with a tight with no throws. As good as that is, I still need my receivers winning off the line. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. We
yeah,
need wide receivers. Like Dak has been making it work with, let's be honest, outside of CD, very average.
yeah,
Average to below average wide receivers. He's been making it work.
yeah. I,
So can we please get him some uh, good to above average? Can we at least get some above average?
right.
Somebody else outside CD Lamb who can win on routes, who's a true threat, who the defense has to game plan for. Because
Right.
right now we're not really seeing that, and it's a hindrance. It's a hindrance to our offense.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with you, Star. And just looking at the wide receiver room, I mean, I think we have, I don't think the Joneses can really use that excuse of, well, we can look later in the draft. We can look because we have examples. We have a third round pick. We have I think a fifth round pick in Brooks. I think a sixth round pick in Flournoy. I'm not sure.
He was a fifth round pick.
A fifth round. So we have examples of what you and not saying that it's all on those guys and it's all their fault they haven't developed and that they can't get it done with more development. But it's just like you have examples of what you can find in those later rounds, and I think that just shows that it kind of gives Shotty maybe another ace in the hole. Like, hey man, we need to go higher at these positions, or we need to go in free agency, like you said, to
Exactly.
look for that explosive player. And I just like that, kind of to our point earlier about developing not just our players that we retained, but also the players that they brought in, the former first round picks. I think that kind of they kind of spoke about that too, and about them bringing in guys like Clayton Adams, White
Mm-hmm.
Cotton, guys that they consider teachers. You know what I'm saying? That
Yep.
not only, I don't want to say
Right.
they're putting pressure on them, but I think it's just an interesting time that Shotty kind of got the Cowboys, kind of like in transition, right? We talk about all the free agents that left, all the guys that that the younger guys, because they are retaining a lot of younger guys because they're drafted, they're undrafted, they're not going anywhere. But the guys that we did lose, they were, veterans, but saying the fact that they brought the former first round veterans in to kind of further develop, hopefully further develop their game, and I like that Shotty kind of spoke about them, why they picked up these particular free agents in this interview. And I just like that, talk about leadership aspects, hopefully getting them back to their possible talent that they had in the former first round. So I like that they're also taking on the challenge of also developing outside players and not just the guys that they already have on roster.
That's true. I definitely agree with that, sis. And I think that uh shout out to Kelvin. What's up, Kelvin and Joe? Good to see
Good,
you.
Calvin.
Joe from Twitter. But
Yes, yes. What's up, Joe?
and y'all be sure, please like the video. Please, please, please like our both streams if y'all can. Take a like break. like the video, share. The
Yes.
content is free, and subscribe to our YouTube channels if you haven't already. Which my YouTube channel is Stargazer Sports. Mickey's is Craven without the G.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Craven
Craven,
Cowboys. Yeah.
Craven Cowboy. So y'all please
Yeah.
subscribe to our YouTube channel if y'all haven't already. If you're on Twitter, I really appreciate you watching on Twitter, but please come over to the YouTube side as well and like the video
Yes.
on
And
YouTube.
Star, I really want to talk about this because this is a point that I know you've discussed, time at the time at the time. Another, not just the team identity being physicality, but Shadi also brought up the point of competition, right? That no jobs, he says, like you said, he said it, but we have to see what happens in camp. But he said that no one's going to be given a job, right? He said he kind of said, not his exact words, but he said like, why have the theme of competition if we're just going to be handing out jobs, right? So with Steven saying that we need to find another wide receiver too, that kind of speaks to Brooks, kind of speaks to Tolbert. You know what I'm saying? Even Flournoy a little bit, Mingo a little bit. They just kind of got here, but I think
I
they get a
feel
little
it.
bit more leniency. You know what I'm saying? But the
Yeah.
running backs that they brought in, hey, we may have signed you guys, but you're not, for sure. Because even both him and Shai talk about finding younger guys as far as later rounds in the draft. So I don't think anyone's necessarily safe. I know they kind of built over free agency. They did bring in leaders who we could probably assume guys like Murray who may end up being the Mike. Steven talking about him possibly playing both. We're Overshown being out, but bringing in veteran guys who I'll say me, who I would assume would be, in a starting position. So, that, for me, I just kind of like that kind of speaks to everybody in the room. Like, we know you guys are young and not saying they should have a starting position, but it kind of speaks to them like, hey, we're going to put you all guys on the same kind of level playing field. Like Clay Adams, he's kind of for treating rookies like veterans and vice versa, putting no one above the other. So, hey, it's going to be a fair playing field. Everyone go out there, compete for the job. Brock Hoffman, yeah, you've been here for a little bit, but we brought in Rob Jones. You know what I'm saying? We need to see,
Yeah.
what we have, and finding the best, front five,
Yeah.
finding the best front four for Eberflus. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you brought in veterans. We know he likes to, have his hands on the linebacker room, but we have a Marist, and that kind of made me think a little bit like, is Marist and Murray, going to compete? Is Marist going to be the Mike? Because he doesn't need a little bit of time, and Murray said he wants to be the head guy in the room, but even
Right. You're bringing in competition, and I definitely, well, look, you can finish it, and
Oh no, I was just saying like and Steven was like hey yeah, we might even have him play on the weak side while Overshown's getting it together. He didn't necessarily say that Murray's gonna come out and be the starting guy. So yeah, I think we're really just saying the same thing, not really having a certain guys being the starters. And shout out to HTM, what's up, fam?
What's
How you
up,
doing?
Lacey? What's up, Henny? Y'all know Henny. That's another great content creator. Y'all know go show Henny some love.
Yeah.
We call him the hood stat nerd. So
Yeah, hit up that liquor store, y'all. It don't matter what day it is. Hit up that liquor store for real.
Exactly. Love Henny and landlord West Coast. Shout out to all the great Cowboys content creators. I appreciate every single time they pop into our show to show us love for sure.
Yes.
But yeah, I agree with you, sis. I think that I just hope that the competition is real. Right? That's what I think that this team is missing. And I think that's how you're going to build a true football culture is competition. We're not handing out positions. We don't care where we drafted you. We don't care how much we paid you in free agency. We're not handing out positions. You're going to line up. We're going to make our evaluations, and we're going to determine on that, regardless of where you were drafted, regardless of how much we paid you. Because that's everybody needs to know that I'm on the field because I earned it. I'm not on the field because I was a first round pick. I'm not on the field because they paid me X amount of money. I'm on the field because I'm the best player at this position that they've got. Right?
Right.
So.
Right. And I love the fact that they actually brought back competition with these not older guys, but they re-signed Marquise Bell, they re-signed Wanye to be like, yeah, we re-signed you and you Hooker and Wilson, but you guys, you guys aren't safe necessarily as well.
Right, and that's what I don't want anybody safe. I don't want anybody thinking, oh, my job is comfortable and I could just sit back. I need everybody competing for their jobs. Of course, we know that there's staple pieces, right? There's they're not really going anywhere. Dak, Micah, City, you know what I'm saying? Those are kind of guys that just kind of immovable. But hey, if they play go down, then we will be looking to replace them as well because everybody should be performing at the top of their game. And if they're not performing at the top of their game, then their spot should be up for grabs. And that's how I feel, honestly.
Yeah.
So I think it will be interesting. I do think that these coaches are, I mean, they're going to have to put their money where their mouth is. Y'all say
Yeah.
y'all are teachers and we love to teach and da da da. Okay, so let's see it. Let's see it. Let's see if y'all say y'all wanted these players. We traded for Kyrie Elam. You know, people have said that there's some issues. You
Right.
know, he got picked on in the AFC Championship game. Can y'all fix his issues? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I watched this film. I liked his film. I didn't see much issues, but it could be in big moments. Maybe he curls up like a little ball. I don't know. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
same thing with Kenneth Murray. Some people don't like him. I love Kenneth Murray. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I still think that he has more to unlock. So it's really going to be on these coaches to really get the absolute best out of these guys. You know, we
Yeah.
brought back Dante Fowler. You know, we really did beef up the defense, and I think that we still got more to add. But I think that we did add a lot on that side of the ball in free agency. You know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
do think that we are trying to rebuild the defense once again. Just like remember how we had to rebuild the defense after 2020. I think that's what we're
Yeah.
trying to do again. Is like let's rebuild this defense because defense wins championships. And the reason why we have not gone, let's be honest, guys, the reason why we have not gone far in the playoffs in the Dak era, besides 2022, I will give y'all 2022. I know everybody, I will give you 2022. Okay. But besides then, the reason that we really have not gone far in playoffs because of our defense is not good in playoffs.
Yeah.
They always are quite literally historically bad in playoffs. So
Yes.
can we get a defense that can stop being historically bad? That would be great. Because I think it's interesting how we had a defensive coordinator. His defenses outside of 1 year were horrible in playoffs. And then he gets to Washington and lesser players, they're getting 5 turnovers
Right.
in a game. Like, come on now, like what's really going on? So I need the coaches to get the best out of these players because at the end of the day, it is on y'all to prepare the players and to get them ready, right? The
Yeah.
players have a certain amount of responsibility. Front office has a responsibility for even getting the players in the building. But when it comes to developing these players, making sure these players are maxing out, play in
Yeah.
and play out, that's on the coaches. So I really need, we are excited about these coaches,
Yeah.
but of course, we got to see what they actually are going to do before we just start drinking Kool Aid.
Yeah.
Because if we can see them getting this team to play as one, then that is going to be very, very exciting because that's what we've been missing. We've been missing that camaraderie. That's what I want Shotty to do is like mend the brotherhood, bring the offense and the defense together
Together.
so that in big moments
Yeah.
we can start to perform because we're not performing in big moments. We
Yeah.
didn't do it in the Jason Garrett era. We didn't do it in the Mike McCarthy era. So Shotty, it's your chance. Like,
Yeah.
can you get this team to perform at a high level in big moments? I don't know. Have to see.
Right. And just one, at least one of my last notes on it is just like you spoke about the defense. Like I think we actually be able to build some continuity. You know what I'm saying? Like, last year we brought in Zimmer, who we were excited about, but you only gave him 1 year. A lot of those guys had 1 year deals, or a lot of the free agents, left. So now, you kind of have a little bit more of a chance to, we signed Solomon Thomas to a 2 year deal. We have, I believe, White Cotton Eberflus longer than a 1 year deal. So not only that, but you're kind of building trust with the players, having the actual, I'll say actual starters be able to start, but actually also building trust with the coaching staff because you're giving them that leeway. You're giving them that amount of time to be able to develop some of these players that you're bringing back, and also develop the younger players that you have, like a Maris, like Overshown, that will be returning, a Diggs, who's still relatively young, who will be able to return. Kalen Carson, he kind of got held back.
David Carson, that's
He'll be
another
returning.
one. Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? So I like that. They're hopefully we'll be able to get a little bit more of a foundation for the defensive side, because the offense, it has struggled the last couple of years, but has really been kind of booing the team, right? Number one offense. We have Dak, CD. You know what I'm saying? Things
Mhm.
like that, but I think this is really a chance for the defense to kind of recover, take this offseason to recover, build it up through free agency, get some more stable pieces, some more depth pieces in the draft, and then, like you said, hopefully be able to do a 180 for this defense, because that's really just been, really just the pain in our side as far as what's been holding us back.
Right, it's been a pain in our side. And speaking of pain in our side, and shout out to Willie Stovall. He said depth is a major key to defense. Absolutely, I agree with you.
Yes.
And shout out to you, John Jones, and everybody else who's watching and enjoying joining us in the chat. But I would say this: he said, "Is Diggs or Overshown?" That's the thing. Steven said they don't expect Diggs or Overshown back by the start of the season, so that means you gotta do free agency and draft as if you don't have a cornerback one, and you're missing a Pro Bowl. I know he didn't make the Pro Bowl, but I think he would have if he actually finished the year. But you're missing a Pro Bowl type linebacker
for sure.
So we've got to operate like those two don't exist, and we've already brought in linebackers. Heard they were trying to get another linebacker. Maybe I'm sure they'll add another one in the draft. I don't know if they'll add another one in free agency. There are some still free agent linebackers that I would add, like what's his name, Isaiah Simmons. I think is a good one to add. Kaiser White. So there's still there's still linebackers that they can add. I just don't know if they're going to do it pre-draft. But I know with cornerbacks, that's a need. Cornerbacks is a need. That's why I definitely think, and I guess we can get to this. I have changed. I have changed my position for the draft. Everybody knows that I was for sure team weapon. We gotta get a weapon. We gotta get a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
But as I've been getting caught up on some more of these prospects, I do think that I really think every single position is in play at 12. I think people think it's going to be a running back, or it's going to be a wide receiver, it's going to be a cornerback, it's going to be whatever. But what I really think, I think every single position is in play. Maybe not safety, but I think seriously every other position is probably going to be considered there.
Yeah.
I think that, and I think it should, to be honest, because when you think about, and this is, of course, I'm still saying we need a running back and we need a wide receiver. I would say in the top 3 rounds. Yeah. I'm still saying that, but I am conceding that it doesn't have to be, because I think when you think, Shadi talked about it. He was like, when you pick a 12, like, that's a premium player, guys. Like premium. Yeah. There are teams that are coming off of these quarterbacks because let's be honest, this quarterback class is ass. It's not good. Like it's not good. It's not good. These quarterbacks.
Even Shadi was like, it's good. I was like, damn.
They're not there's no generational quarterbacks in this town. Right. I mean, in this class. So teams are like, forget them. Teams are like, shoot, let's go get this, like the Giants did. The Giants went and got 2 quarterbacks because they don't want to be forced to pick any rookie quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think that we've got to be open to each of these positions. We've got to be open to each position at 12. I do firmly believe that because I'm watching film on these DTs. I'm watching film on some of these offensive linemen. Yeah. These linebackers, and stuff like that, cornerbacks, and I definitely think. Well, I still need to get deeper into the cornerbacks. Let me not.
Yeah, me too. I think I maybe saw scene 2, maybe.
Right, like I'm like, let me not cap with the cornerbacks, but I know with DT, offensive lineman, or wide receiver or running back, I feel like those are the 4 positions that should be considered at 12. Yeah. So DT, running back, offensive lineman, wide receiver. And I do think that they are going to and cornerback too. Cornerback. So there's 5 positions that they should consider at 12 because like Angry said, we just need to get a player that we know can come in today and they're going to help us today. Yeah. We can't afford to reach. I don't want to reach on you and then I miss out on a generational player.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I feel like I am open to it because it's like whatever you think is best, whatever these coaches, the staff, like just get the best player possible that day one They're gonna come in here and they're going to help us no matter what. That's who
Yeah.
you have to pick a special player at 12. You
Yeah.
can't afford to reach. I'm sorry, you just can't, not at 12, because you're not gonna. When the last time we was at 12? Like we haven't even been that high. So it's like we
Right.
can't afford to fuck it up. I'm sorry. We can't.
And that's no, that's on periods. I agree, and just to your point, like you said, Shadi talked about it, and I'm even getting the feeling like you said, like this whole time I was thinking maybe running back. Like I said earlier, I was assuming that they would probably put the draft in Shadi's hands. So running back, wide receiver, maybe offensive weapon, but the way both him and Steven said, yeah, you can find it back in later rounds, or yeah, Steven, yeah, there's a lot of running backs in this draft. So it's just, I feel like that may be they may even risk a later round for that because they did bring in veterans. They still do have Deuce. They do still have Lipke if they decide to go with those. You know what I'm saying? So I would assume that. I agree with you. Look at some of these DTs, linebacker, like you said. Some of the other positions I've been looking at.
Yeah, let's get into the DTs. The sports I can talk about. I'm not falling for the okie doke. I'm saying we need to get the best player possible.
Yeah.
And we got to really consider, if there's multiple players there, who is the best player possible. We cannot just blindly go, this person. We're picking this person no matter what. I'm sorry, I can't do that. And I don't think that's smart, and I don't think the Cowboys do well when they do that.
Like,
I don't think they do well when they do that at all.
Yeah, and it sounds like Shadi is open to do open to like I think he said a few times that best player available will be their first option, and then he said he'll kind of look to see what at that particular pick what player will be best, whether it's offensive or defensive.
Right, even edge, because you got to think like two people on this team need Batmans, Micah and CD. So we also got to think about that, like. And I'm still getting deeper into our edges. So I can't really speak too much. I've watched some edges. I've watched James Pierce, and I really like James Pierce, a whole lot, and he killed the combine. And so you just got to consider. That's all I'm saying. I think you got to consider everybody on the board, and you've got to make it. I haven't done my ranking, so I'm not saying pick James Pierce at 12. I'm just saying I watched James Pierce, and I like his film. When it comes to the rankings, do I think he should be 12? I don't know. I can't say that. You know what I'm saying right now. But
yeah, for me, I don't know. Like, for Pierce for me seemed like a little bit on the slim side. Like his side just seemed like maybe like if he could, of course, if he could build up muscle, I would like to see him. You know what I'm saying? Because he does have that speed, and I like that. Because a guy that like on Tennessee as well. Let me see his name is Omar Norman Lott. I like how and they sometimes they play next to each other, so I like that the energy that they kind of give off. But I love Pierce's speed, but I think that he may be a little bit on the leaner side. But if he can build up some muscle, I do like the energy that he plays with.
Right, I have like with Pierce, the get off and the quick twitch is what you can really see. Now the concerns are, does he have the pass rush repertoire to draft at 12? You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I've seen many pass rush moves from him. And I also did say he struggles to get off blocks versus the run. But he did wreak havoc versus Bama. He got multiple sacks. The get off is crazy. And it's like he can block shed. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. JT Tumalau is another guy that I really, really like. His film stood out to me last year. I'm surprised that more people aren't talking about him because last year he was a game wrecker. I don't know, maybe because sometimes players just look different from year to year. So maybe his 2024 tape wasn't as good, but I know his 2023 tape was great. You know what I'm saying? Another player I like Elijah Roberts out of SMU. Very good, you know what I'm saying? He's more of I think he's very physical. He gives me more of he's a big guy too, 295 pounds. But he kind of gives me Marshawn Nealon vibes, honestly. More of a guy where it's like, but he did end up getting a sack. So he definitely I think he has more of a pass rush skill than Marshawn Nealon. He's obviously bigger because Marshawn's only like 260. But you got a guy that big type of defensive end where I feel like he feels almost like he might look better in a 3-4 base. Flus is more of a 4-3. but I think he probably can play both. Jordan Birch, that's
I was
another
just
guy.
Yeah, that was the next name on my list. Jordan Burge. I love in his size. He came from SEC and then transferred to Oregon, which I love. And what really stood out to me is his missed tackle rate was under 12%. Versatility along the line can bring consistent pressure to the quarterback.
Right.
6 batted balls in 2024. So it says he has knowledge of a passing lane. So I like to
Right.
see him on the
He has
field.
great knowledge of passing, the passing lanes, great play recognition, has the ability as a 6'6" defense. He's really a hybrid because he can play defensive tackle, but he's listed as an edge. Can get picks. You know what I'm saying? Like this
Yeah,
is a guy. Like I said, he fits Eberflus's scheme because
yeah,
Eberflus likes that 6'6" type of player, 6'6", 6'7". So that's definitely a guy that
yeah.
I
And
would like to go after if we could.
And I don't know for sure. I think I heard in one of the games I did of Birch, but I think he has offensive experience as a running back or wide receiver.
I gotta look that up. I don't know.
I think I heard it in one of the games. I forget what match it was, but it said he has experience at running back and wide receiver.
Yeah, we gotta look that up. But I do want to kind of talk a little bit too. We're supposed to be talking about
Oh,
DT.
DT.
I kind of got off the subject just talking about 12,
Oh no, you good.
but talking about DTs. Obviously, y'all know who most people have ranked number one in the draft is Mason Graham, and then Kenneth Grant, and then what's his name, Derek Harmon. Gotta be honest. I gotta watch more film on Derek Harmon, but I did take notes on him at the combine. He killed the combine. Ran a
I have
4.95.
some. While you go, since I'm gonna bring up, cause I have some clips that of different DTs, but so I'm gonna try to find Harmon. I think I have about 30 seconds of him while you talk about him.
Okay, yeah, but I liked Harmon. Ran a 4.95 at the combine, and I said here he killed agility drills, destroyed them. And so obviously, when you have a DT that can move the way that he moves, you gotta take. Thank you, Lou. I appreciate that. You gotta take a look at him. You gotta take a look at him.
Yeah,
Sister's bringing up Derek Harmon. Some film of him right now. Is this him right
yeah,
here on the screen?
yeah. He's gonna be number 55. You guys in the chat.
Okay, so yeah, we can definitely take a look at Derek Harmon, see what he's got. So we just taking a look. So you can see got that knife ability. I think that
Right.
did he. Can you rewind that?
Yeah.
I love I think it's huge for a defensive tackle to have that knife ability. Let's see, where's that play? Right there.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's him. He gets that strip sack fumble.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is what I'm talking about because another thing with defensive tackle, the first step is just to be able to hold up your blocks, but the next step is to be able to knife those double teams and actually get penetration and get to the quarterback.
Right.
So this is a guy that, yeah,
Even on
he's
block.
right, and he's seeming like not getting pushed off the ball, holding his ground. Oh, let's move to another player. Wait, okay. Yeah. But yeah, not getting pushed off the ball, holding on to his ground, ability to knife, ability to collapse the pocket. You're seeing the redirects.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
Disengagement.
right, disengage in the redirect, ability to redirect. So like these are the types of things that I think that could help us tremendously because we know in Eberflus's scheme, the defensive tackles, the front seven's whole theme is to attack. And so I like in that position, he stood his ground. He's not getting pushed out of gaps. And so you basically want a defensive tackle that can do it all. I think that's what fits Eberflus's scheme, a DT that can do it all. So not just be a trash can. He's looking for guys that can move. You know what I'm saying? That can stop the run, but also get to the quarterback. I think probably what they say, stop the run on the way to get the quarterback. So that's
Yeah,
Yeah,
just some notes I had on Harmon as well. I like that he keeps the play in front of him, and he has strong hands to allow him to make extra plays. Like he can, like we just saw, he can disengage from the hand fighting or ripping the ball, like we saw, with the fumble recovery. I like the energy that he has like around the line.
yeah, I think so too. He seems very disruptive. I think it's the best word to describe. And then
Yeah.
you said uh, you had looked at some other guys too. Is that right, sis?
Yeah, this first clip I have right here is I mentioned it earlier. Omar Norman, live from Tennessee, a 6'2", 291. I feel like he plays with like kind of like a rawness. I would like him play with a little bit more discipline, but I'm gonna let it play. While I kind of talk about him. Like I said, I feel like he plays with a rawness where he just kind of, not in a bad way, but kind of like he chases the ball, right? He kind of throws his weight in the direction of the ball, so you can kind of see that even right here, he doesn't hesitate. He goes right after the quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Comes
Yeah,
right down. You know what I'm saying? Comes right downhill. Pretty
okay.
much pushes the guard in the
Yeah,
QB's lap. Like he just has a crazy. Look at
I'm
the
liking. I'm
energy.
liking the energy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
And it's looking like he's winning mostly with the bull rush.
Yeah.
That means, he's lining up over the center, so he's playing like the nose position where he has the ability to collapse the pocket. So that's another thing you're looking at, especially for Eberflus's scheme. Do you have ability to get upfield? Do you have ability to collapse the pocket? They're playing him on the edge as well.
Yeah.
Jesus, you can see he plays with a lot of intensity. Some of
Yeah.
these.
Somebody, right? You feel me? Like some
This is
of
what
the guys
you
just out there just throwing. You know what I'm saying? Just throwing
right.
it. You feel
This is
me?
what's
Like
called a high motor. And
yeah.
the crazy thing is I don't know what he tested at, but he's got this crazy get off, and the motor is crazy.
Yeah.
So that's something that's like really popping off the screen to me with him.
Yeah. Some of the
I
notes
don't
I
know
had
how
was
best he holds up against the run, but I think for sure, as a pass, as he for sure has, it's clear from those clips, he's got pass rush ability. And again,
yeah.
guys, these are clips. Of course, he has deficiencies. Sis, did you see any deficiencies in his game?
I did say that he can sometimes overshoot his gap and end up washed out of the play. He can show a
Mm-hmm.
little bit better spatial awareness with, like let me see me bring up an example. Because sometimes he can kind of get pushed out, even with the double teams. He can kind of get stopped. I do have mostly of his good highlights. I'm not gonna lie, because like you guys can see NFL Film Room. Make sure because I really saw most of these highlights on YouTube. But I do like sometimes I wish you could kind of shore up some of his tackling. Like I said, he kind of plays with a little bit of a wildness, but I think if
Right.
he has a little bit more. That's like a little bit more discipline with his
A little bit
play.
more discipline.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Kind of wrap up a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? I think he can kind of finish some of those tackles. Like maybe I guess I'll say like kind of improve his finishing ability because he does have the energy to get after the play. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of
You
not
can see the
necessarily
energy
guessing.
is crazy. Okay, so
Right,
this next
right.
guy is TJ Sanders.
Yeah. T.J. Sanders actually.
They
Yeah, let me go
have
ahead
him
and
like as a top. I was looking at NFL draft buzz. They have him like top 5, I think, defensive tackle in his draft class. So
yeah, he's
we
ranked
can
pretty high.
we can definitely take a look at him. Where's he at? Woo! All right. A lot of these DTs are explosive.
Yeah, they
That's what
also
I've
had that.
That's what I'm
Also
noticing
had that
about this
motor.
class is like the DTs are explosive, even down to another. So I see he's lining up here again. Oh, so he
Over
lines up
the
at the
center.
nose and the 3 tech.
Yeah, and just look how he disengages. Like he just kind of just pushes the guy over.
Right. Looks like he's got good disengage ability, good ability to shed blocks. He looks a little bit leaner for a DT. What's his
Let me look up his measurables right quick. Let me
And
see.
I'm liking his bend too. He's getting people more with quickness. Is he like a speed rushing DT?
Yeah, it says 6'4", 297. Yeah,
Okay, that's pretty
DT.
good.
A nose tackle slash 3 tech. Like relentless motor, had 7 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, 50 tackles. That proves he can be dominant in run defense, and he does have a scheme versatility where he can line up and down, go up and down the line. So I think I did take that he kind of notices every now and then some misdirection, just because
Yeah,
I think because of his size, but like, it's not out of control. You know what I mean?
right. But I'm seeing him ability to just continue to move across the line. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
has the ability to redirect. Seems like where he's at right here. Yeah, I think he's winning with his hands a lot. Is what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
He knows how to disengage with his hands. He knows how to move the guy off of him.
Yeah, it's looking like maybe like it's just me off watching some of these. Like maybe have a maybe kind of develop a little better, maybe a little better anchor because, like you said, like it seems like most of his weight is in his upper body.
Yeah, you're saying he needs to more. He needs to drive with his feet a lot more. Yeah,
A
because
little
he
bit because it seems
basically
like he's like kind of like
he is rushing standing up.
yeah,
So the fact that he's rushing, but he's winning doing that. So it's like
yeah,
if he can learn how to play with a stronger base,
yeah,
I think that's what's going to help him because he most likely uses like more. So you see, like he's doing like that stutter step and trying to set him up. He uses more. What I'm seeing from him is he's got more of a speed element.
yeah,
That's how, even though he's lined up, and that's kind of crazy for a nose tackle, but it does seem like he's not really just trying to push the guy back into the quarterback. He's more so trying to like evade him, beat him with quickness. That's what
yeah,
I'm saying. So I do agree that if he could win a little bit stronger at the base, would like to see how he kind of holds up against the run. But you said the draft note said that he did hold up pretty well against the run as well. I'd have to see what he graded out at. But I think you said he had like what, eight? You said 8 or 7 tackles for loss, four
yeah, yeah,
sacks.
yeah. 7 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, 50 tackles.
Yeah, that's pretty damn productive, especially for a nose tackle. And so
Yeah,
this is what we're trying to say, like, and to inform y'all the difference between Eberflus and Zimmer scheme. Eberflus Zimmer scheme, the defensive tackles were all they were supposed to do was pretty much hold up blocks, take on the double teams, and the linebackers were the highlight of his scheme. And Eberflus's scheme, it really is that front four, really like the defensive tackles. So they really have to have that pass rushing ability, that ability to get upfield, that ability to knife the double teams. So the defensive tackles that we're showing you guys are guys that Eberflus definitely is going to want to take a look at. And I think these were guys that were on the list from Nick Harris. Is that right, sis?
yeah. Nick Harris from the SEC pro days visit.
Right. So you see that, and honestly, I can show y'all a little bit of film of Michigan. Now I think I gotta be careful because actually I'm not gonna show it because I think Michigan they like to snipe you, but
Uh-uh.
and I don't want them taking our content down. So, but
Yeah,
'cause I remember one time I tried to do a breakdown and they was
yeah.
the
They want to get you,
YouTube
man.
monsters got me. But
Yeah,
here's my
they'll get
thought.
you. They will get you mid show, man. You like they'll cut you.
Right, they will snipe you
Woo.
mid show, and
Yes,
I
man.
believe if I'm not mistaken, it is Michigan that if you showing they film, they will snipe you. So, but one thing I did want to talk about with Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant is both of these guys. I can clearly see on the tape why people have them ranked as pretty much number one, number two. I think some people do throw in what's his name from Mississippi, Walter Nolan, as well as Taliki Williams from Georgia. I think y'all let me know where's Taliki Williams from. Is he from Georgia? I think
Let me
so.
see. I'm like,
But when we look at Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant, to be honest, guys, I know y'all might be shocked, but just from what I've looked at so far, I'm liking Kenneth Grant over Mason Graham. And here's why. Kenneth Graham shows, even though he primarily lines up as a nose tackle, he's quick, right? First play of the game, I'm watching him versus USC. He goes over the guard with a swim move, gets a tackles for loss. This is the first play of the game, right? You can see the quick get off. He has the ability, the ability to really knife double teams. I'm seeing it from him consistently, right? Shedding blocks easily. The ability to collapse the pocket. Uh, what I say? Killer bull. I said has a killer bull rush, right? It doesn't seem to get pushed off ball. And so when I'm thinking of scheme wise, which player would fit Eberflus more? I'm leaning toward Kenneth Grant because when I look at Mason Graham, okay, he's from Ohio State. Thank you, Angry Cowboys fan. That's where Taliki Williams is from. I thought it was from Georgia. But then when I look at Mason Graham, seeing similar attributes, stout at the point of attack, right? He has great. That's what I would say about Mason Graham. You're not going to see him get pushed off ball. He has great block shed ability. Great. But what I don't like about him, and I don't know if this is because he's undersized, because he looks a little bit small to me. So I don't know if Mason Graham is undersized or not as a DT, but what I don't like about him is that he gets double teamed a lot, and I'm not seeing the knife ability from him. I'm not, and when I say knife ability, I'm not seeing his ability to split the double teams. I'm seeing when they put double teams or triple teams toward him, he's pretty much null and void. And I'm thinking as a three tech, he's a three tech primarily. They line him up over the nose sometimes, but he's mostly a three tech. From that, I'm like, I don't really know if you fit Zim. He would fit Zimmer's scheme like a glove.
Okay.
But when it comes to Eberflus's scheme, I'm not sure that he fits it. Right? I think that he's phenomenal. You can clearly see he's phenomenal against the run. Okay? Phenomenal against the run. But when it comes to collapse in the pocket, pass rush ability that Eberflus likes, I'm not really seeing that much from Mason Graham. Granted, I will watch more film on him, but just from what I've seen so far, that's kind of my take on Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham. And another DT I watched in depth is Aeneas Peebles. Plays for Michigan. No, I already said. Yeah, I said he plays for Michigan. I never said he played for Ohio State.
Yeah, Carl. When she said Ohio State, she was asking about Talik Williams.
Yes, Talik Williams. Yeah, that's what I was asking about. But another guy that I really like that I feel like a lot of people not talking about. I think maybe because he's undersized, because he is only 6'1". He's only 6'1" and 288 pounds, but he's quick as hell. He ran a 4.95 at the combine. Is Aeneas Peebles from Virginia Tech.
Okay.
Is my notes for him, I mean, what stood out to me is his get off is insane. My notes say doesn't get pushed off ball. Literally, get off is insane. Gets to backfield and gets tackled for loss, gets pressure. I said, bruh, I've never seen a DT fly off the ball like this. Like, the pressure. Yeah, Virginia Tech. Aeneas Peebles. Check him out. Many people are not talking about him. But his get off, now again, he is on the shorter side. He is undersized. But he ran a 4.95 at the combine. Yeah. His get off is crazy. And the thing is, I'm not seeing the issues that you would see typically from a more pass rushy type of defensive tackle. Because I said he can knife the double team, doesn't get pushed off ball, powerful at the point of attack, movable force, collapses pocket. Ball has to get out quickest with him. He was just getting constant pressure. He's got spin moves in his repertoire, right? Like, so I think that occasionally he can get washed out when he's trying to pass rush. So, that's a critique of him. But, mostly what I've seen from him is that he's incredible. He's a very good player for his size. I really didn't see much. I saw him on the ground like once, but again, I couldn't tell if he was on the ground because he got thrown to the ground or if he tripped. And then, like I said, sometimes he gets washed out of the play when he tries to pass rush. But another thing I said is he's got an incredible hustle. So I said he gets chip blocked and hustles the ball. Like you can't teach that. Chip block where they pretty much take out your legs. So he get chip block at the beginning of the play, but he immediately is getting up and getting to the ball carrier. Like, you can't teach that. You can't teach effort. You can't teach people who just want to win more than you. You know what I'm saying? So, again, I don't know if he fits scheme-wise because he is pretty small. But I would say I would not mind taking a chance on him. Somewhere there in the later rounds, I would not mind taking a chance. Like, if you want to double up at DT, and Aeneas Peebles is one of them, sign me up. That's how I feel about him for real.
Yeah, there was a guy earlier in the chat that Hoodie Kush 81 mentioned, Jamari Caldwell. He was another guy, I think, who you were just talking about with Grant. As far as not necessarily, like, he can take up double teams, but he can't necessarily knife through them like you were saying. But some other notes I had on him was that he's literally a run stuffer. 6'3", 332, nose tackle / DT from Oregon. He has the ability to line up over the guard. He has impressive motor at the line. He can take on double teams, just need to play a little cleaner to avoid being washed out. He plays with the apparent rawness. Would like to see a little more discipline in his play, but I think it could be tightened up with coaching. But really the real reason why I kind of took him down, because he kind of has like that in my opinion, well, because I don't know the player, of course, but just seeing his background, he comes from a JUCO background. Started at Hutchinson Community College, then transferred to Independence Community College before finally landing at Houston. And then when he finally actually transferred to Oregon, they say his production kind of went down: 29 tackles, 4.5 tackles for loss. But a big body. Sometimes we just need a body in there, right? And we talked about having Mozzie in there. Lost weight, gained weight back. We had guys like Linval Joseph. Also, he's a big guy, but he's not necessarily, a big run stuffer, not necessarily a nose tackle. So if we're looking for a true, true nose tech, and a true guy who could just take up those double teams and leave the linebackers clean, even leaving, even, maybe even give a chance, like even a guy, I don't know if he makes a team, you know what I'm saying, but even giving a guy like Peyton Turner, you know what I'm saying, maybe giving some of those depth guys, Solomon Thomas, a chance to be able to make those plays because he's taking up those two guys in the middle, to kind of give those guys on the outside a chance to make those plays. You know what I'm saying? That's what we want, right? You can't double team Micah. You can't double team.
Right. You can't double
You
team
know what I'm saying?
everybody.
Caldwell.
So
You know what I'm saying?
right, exactly. So you want, and that's what I'm saying. You need so many powerful forces up at the front. On your front four, front seven,
Yeah.
or your front four, that somebody's got to be free. And you want guys that can consistently win one-on-ones, right? So if you have a guy taking up a double team, then the other guy who's on one-on-one, you should be winning and getting to the quarterback. Because I think that's something that we've lacked, but that's when we play at our best, when we have a super pass rush. Super pass rush. So that's why we really do need to be focusing, because the 3 tech is the key, it's the secret sauce to Zimmer's, I'm sorry, not Zimmer, to Eberflus's scheme.
Right.
So we really have to find, we signed Osa, thank God, which we know Osa had a breakout year in 2024. We hope we signed him big money, so we hope that he continues on that trajectory. But we want to bring in somebody that can also bring another. We honestly need another 3 tech. You know what I'm saying? Because you have Mozzie. We consider Mozzie a 1 tech, right? He can play 3, but we consider him a 1 tech. So imagine if you could pair somebody like Mozzie, Kenneth Grant, or you go get a veteran nose tackle, and then you bring in somebody that can, rush with Osa, the guys that we named, Kenneth Grant, the Amari guy you just named, TJ Sanders. So these are things. That's what I'm trying to say, guys. Like, think of the pieces that we got, and think, what if we put something better around them? What are they going to look like? What would Osa look like, next to a dog nose tech? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that Mozzie took strides last year. We still got to see. I haven't given up on Mozzie. I know a lot of people have, but I'm actually kind of excited for the steps that Mozzie will take, that I believe that he will take. I don't know if he'll take them, but that I believe that he'll take. But I think also adding another person or 2 people to that room to not overwhelm him and put all that pressure on him. Because if we can get these guys in a rotation, then I think that's when we can be, more effective. And I do think under Eberflus' scheme, he will have more of a rotational front compared to Zimmer, who has had more of a, I use the same guy. So it's like I don't really rotate guys in and out. Guys, we were supposed to talk to y'all too about the running backs, but I mean, considering that it's already been an hour plus, I think we may just have to get to the running backs next week.
DT. I think DT can be our position, because we mostly talk about DT, slash D edge. But I mean, and that's one thing I want to bring up too, is that with Eberflus's scheme, and that kind of shed light when they signed a guy like Solomon Thomas. They kind of signed somebody who could move up and down the line, right? A lot of guys we talked about just now,
versatility,
move up and down, exactly. So we
Derek
had
Harmon. I forgot his name. Derek Harmon. He's the guy. If you got that versatility where you can play up and down the line.
Yeah, and with Eberflus kind of bringing in bringing back the scheme of stunts and twists, and kind of bringing confusion at the line. You have guys who can play different positions, so you can really, Shai talked about giving different looks as far as offense, but can you imagine giving different looks on defense? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Having guys line up at different parts of the line, not knowing where they're coming from. You have Michael, who you can move around if he decides to move Michael, off ball or at the line.
Exactly.
Just having so many moving pieces, I think, can just really create confusion. They talk about Clayton.
Exactly.
I think earlier Shadi mentioned that Clayton Adams' strong point is about attacking defenses. I think it's going to be good for training camp too, because we talk about the development of our guys, and them seeing different looks. I think this is going to be great for both sides of the ball because we have Clayton Adams coming in, bringing his new philosophy of how to attack a defense. In Shotty's words, but now you have Eberflus coming in, who's a linebacker whisperer, right? We have White Cotton coming in, who has this guy Thomas, who can develop former first round picks. So I think just it's a combination of all these coaches kind of bringing in their teaching traits, bringing in that mentality, and then having these players who want to excel, who want to continue to progress, and also the young guys we have. I think it's going to be. It could just be a crazy combination. We could
Right.
really have
Like when
an
I think
explosion.
about it, I'm like, we could have a really,
Yes.
if we do, if we play our cards right, we could have a
Right.
really, really explosive front. And
Yeah.
we all know that if we have an explosive front, it's good night. And Shotty
Yeah.
talked about that. He was like, when you look at all the NFC East teams, they all have incredible fronts. Washington,
Facts.
Giants, Eagles. This is our time.
Right. I mean,
this is what I want you to think about.
Even the Giants, even everything that they went through, they still had that strong. That's one thing.
Right,
you
that front.
That's
Then
one
they
thing.
took our player and added freaking Chauncey over there. So, and then you have to think though that like, guys, this is our time. We can get our Jordan. We can get our Jalen Carter. We can get our Jordan Davis. This is a generational DT. This is what I'm trying to get y'all to just open your mind up. Open your mind up. I know we want to whip. I want to whip it. I want to whip it.
Right.
I'm trying to think and broaden my horizons because I'm like, listen, if we have, why did the Chiefs lose the Super Bowl? The Eagles' defensive front, they were tearing them up. They had no answers. We do have to think about that, guys. They had no answers. Then I was thinking the other day, I was like, has that gotten hurt mostly because of the wide receivers wasn't getting open because of the O-line? And I'm like, damn, if I'm gonna be real with myself, part of it may be wide receivers not getting open. But I think also a good chunk of it is the O-line protection.
Yeah,
think about in 2022, what happened? What did we do? Threw Tyler Smith out there at left tackle.
Yep.
What happened? What happened, Tyler? What happened with Tyler Smith? He got his ass beat.
Yep.
Broke Dak's finger. We think of 2020. What happened? Dak scrambling for his life.
Yep.
Broke his leg. 2023. Dak scrambling again, breaks his leg. So I think that, ultimately, you do have to build your team inside out. I still want a premium weapon, right? And if that's the best pick at 12, then you pick that player and you run.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. But I'm saying, if we get wiped out, right? If we get wiped out and they're not our wide receivers are not on the board, or there's another player and a wide receiver, like we have to be open to other decisions. He said that got hurt because he had to do more. CeeDee Lamb had to do more. Same with Micah. Yeah, I mean everybody has to do more, but I'm talking about even before. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about Dak's injuries over the years. Like Dak's injuries over the years. I'm not saying that a wide receiver can't help, but I'm also saying that because of offensive line issues, we lost a lot of fucking games last year. Excuse my French, but we lost a lot of fucking games last year because our offensive line just sucked. Let's just be honest. Right. Like Zach Martin, like Tyler Guyton, those guys were consistently until the end of the season. They were consistently getting their asses kicked, getting Dak hit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was affecting Dak's ability to hit those longer plays with people wide open because Guyton and Steele were getting beat so damn fast.
Right. Now, to your point, is with those stronger fronts that we were facing. We were facing teams like the Browns. We were facing
we were facing crazy fronts.
Lions, you know. Right.
We were facing crazy fronts, and we all know a player could be. I showed it on film. Players running wide open. Yeah. Players are getting wide open, but what happened? Dak didn't have enough time to even see them.
Right. By the time they're looking back, Dak already on the ground or running, or his back is turned. You feel me? So like that's an excellent point you brought up, Star, because and I love the discussions you guys have between weapons or drafting someone on the line or even someone on the defensive line, but it's just a matter of how much time Dak has in the pocket. You know what I'm saying? And he can use a lot of help. Like I mentioned earlier, with them bringing in Clayton Adams, he can create different schemes, different pulls with guards and tackles to try to create more time, not just for Dak, but also more time for the wide receivers, more time for the running back to get open, just in case of a check down. You know what I'm saying? So I think everything coming together, all these minds coming together, kind of create better situations. Like they talk about putting these guys into better game playing situations, better situations that they can actually excel and use their talents the best way that they can. So I think it's about looking at everything, what I'm saying, not about just looking at what the small
Look
problems are
at
causing.
everything,
It's not
and
just
that's exactly. We got to get in
exactly.
class because that's what I'm saying. We just got to look at everything. I
Yeah,
still am expecting. I don't know the magnitude. I am still expecting a move before the draft. I
yeah,
don't know what position, but I'm expecting a move. My fingers crossed is that it's a wide receiver too. I would like to. I know people let's just get it in the draft, but I'm like, no, bro, because I just don't want to
no,
be forced, bro.
right,
And I'm very nervous. I am still nervous that if we do go not a wide receiver at one, then the Cowboys will wait till round three to try to draft a wide receiver, and that can get scary if you don't have no veteran on the roster.
right,
So team weapon, I haven't completely abandoned y'all, and I haven't gone to team trenches. I'm just honestly team BPA. But the way that we do that without everybody fighting each other and saying we selling out and all this shit is if the front
yeah,
office can just fill as many holes as possible. And there
yeah,
is a glaring hole at wide receiver two, glaring, blinking, flashing light.
Lit-
Like
bro.
it's flashing, it's glaring. And so when it comes to the offensive line, I do think that, and Tyler Guyton spoke about this. Shout out, there's a content creator. He did an interview with Tyler Guyton, and Guyton talked about how he feels a totally different energy from Lincoln, from Connor Riley
Yeah,
and from Clayton Adams. So hopefully Clayton Adams and Connor Riley can get this offensive line playing A1. Because I really do think we have the talent for this to be a top offensive line in the league, even
yeah.
before, say we added another player in the draft.
Yeah.
But
Because that says a lot, sis, right? I mean, they haven't even really got back to the facility, right? They even been saying this whole time they haven't really talked football. They haven't really gotten together to these football activities. They're really just getting to know each other. So for Guyton to say that it's changed the room already when these guys haven't really
right,
spent football time together,
time
that's
together,
a
that's
lot.
huge. That's huge, and that means that he's just being able to pick up on the energy and what these guys are telling them, teaching. Well, I don't know, but
Right.
we know spring ball starts in like a couple weeks, I
Yeah.
think. So, I'm really hoping these, like we spoke about at the beginning of the show, we're hoping that these coaches put their money where their mouth is and they really develop these guys. Because I would love
Yeah.
it. I would love to see, our offensive line go back to dominance. And I don't
Yeah.
necessarily think that we have to. I'm not saying we have to draft an offensive lineman, but I'm saying I don't want to be in a position to have to draft anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Even, of course, you're going to go into the draft with some holes like um, I think it's normal for teams to go into the draft with some holes where it's clear like we got to draft this position, even if we get a free agent. If you don't get a free agent of a top tier caliber, you're gonna have to likely draft that position, even just for depth purposes.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, I think about us having a nasty front four, and that excites me just as much as it excites me to have CD we have a wide receiver too. Just as
Right.
much as it excites me to have a running back, you know what I'm saying, or a
Yeah.
cornerback two, or cornerback one, you know what I'm saying. So yeah, I think I will just end the show with that. I still think the front office should try to do two moves before the draft: get a wide receiver two, and get a veteran, bring in another veteran cornerback. I think those are the two
Yeah.
positions. If they could just do that before the draft, then I think we'll be ready to draft. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
we'll see what the front office does. They keep alluding, they could trade or whatever. We're not done
Yeah.
yet. Blah blah. I'm like, okay. So we'll see. We'll see. That's all I gotta say. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm with you, sis. I like the energy that really that shoddy that Steven came with. I'm gonna keep it real. I like that Steven is being seems to be a little bit more open minded. Shout out to Jameson Taylor. Hey, what's up, fam? Hope you're doing all right. Thank you for
What's up,
swinging through, fam.
Jameson?
Yeah, I love the energy that they come with. I like that a little bit more of Shotty's message, a little bit more of his of what he wants the team to be. That then is kind of coming through. We see what what was kind of laid out from the beginning, which was going to be the foundation, but we kind of see a little bit more of that. So with these picks being, with the free agency being done so far, like Star said, I do expect another move in free agency too. They both stated that they're not done. Hopefully, it'll be moves that we can I don't want to say as fans approve of, but hopefully that they still continue to listen to the fans and just kind of listen to the needs of the team and just kind of read the room a little bit and just like Star said, kind of take care of those top needs so that way, like Shawty said, they can look at BPA when they do go to the draft. So that way you can give this team really the best chance to kind of really hit the ground running. You don't want to start off. I hate to say start off behind, what I'm saying, because they do have players in these positions, but it's always better to draft like Star said, always better to draft BPA because so you don't have to you don't have to be drafting for need. So I hope that going forward, we'll have a little bit more Cowboys news coming out next week. Hopefully you guys catch us next week. Thank you guys for your time this evening. Like Star said, make sure you guys hit the like, hit the
Like,
share, and make
donate to our cash apps.
yes, please, please, please. The cash apps are down below, and please make sure you guys tune in next week. And one more detail I wanted to add. I know we didn't get a chance to talk about him, but make sure you guys look at this guy, Tonka Hemingway. I think his last name. Let me get his name right because Tonka Hemingway, 6'3", 287, out of South Carolina. Plays both sides of the ball. You know what I'm saying? We see what the Lions have done on that side of the ball. I like that they do kind of creative stuff. I want to see a little bit more creativity with the Cowboys going forward. He's converted, I think, fake punts. He scored touchdowns, and I like to see that a big body doing that for the Cowboys. So make sure you guys really look him up. I think he can really provide some versatility for our defense. But thank you guys for joining us. Really appreciate your time. All the content creators that came through. Thank you guys for showing love to us. We really do
Yes,
appreciate it.
thank you to all the content creators. We appreciate y'all so
Yes,
much for
all
showing
our
love to us.
followers.
Sports
Yes,
Junkie, Angry Cowboys fan, Lou came in here, Henny came in here, big time show. And if there
yes,
was anybody watching we missed, we're sorry, but thank you to all of our followers and subscribers. We love y'all and appreciate y'all, and hopefully we'll be back next week to talk offense again. We're supposed to talk running backs, but of course we just got too much deep into the BTs, which is
yeah,
fine because that's one of the deepest. This is supposed to be, according to everybody, this is a generational DT class. So
yeah,
we
yeah.
all
That
see
was it.
we just threw lots of names at y'all. So
Yes,
we definitely will try to come back next week with talking offense because if there's any group that I've watched extensively is running back. So I'll definitely be excited to talk about the running backs, and I definitely will be excited to talk about. I've also looked at the wide receivers extensively. So y'all stay tuned for next week for sure.
yes. We love y'all. Catch y'all next week. Peace out.
See you, sis.
See you, girl.